What's up, guys? Craig Mack here, Liberty Bell Beekeeper. So, spring prep is underway here, as you should know if you're a beekeeper and if you've watched any of my recent videos. I'm starting to put together frames for this upcoming season and realized that I don't have a really great way to store them. So, started working on frame rests, and I figured I would just share some of the basic info about this that I found out right now. So what I used for this is fairing strips. I had a bunch of these old fairing strips. They're full of staples. I put together a makeshift paint booth to get things warmed up in here last year so I could do some spray painting. And I probably have 4 or 5 dozen of these things laying around over time, and I've been slowly using some of them. I burnt some of them that were broken, and the last of what I have has been put to use with these frame racks, and I'm actually going to go get more so I can make more of these. But like I said, basic info I'm talking about here. So this is an 8-foot length. It's divided into 2-foot sections, approximately 2 foot. And what this allows you to do is house 16 frames, 16 drawn frames per 2-foot section. So you end up with 72 total frames being able to be stored in this one 8-foot section. So keep that number in mind, 72 per 8 foot. Now, you can bump that number up if these are brand new frames like these are and you stagger them. You can get 2 additional per, so 8 more per rack, so a total of 80 frames. But I figured on the number being drawn frames because ultimately that's what it's going to hold for me long term. So I'm going to build a bunch of these frames and then build a vertical stack similar to what I did with this. Let's move this out here so you can see a little bit better. Now this I built specific for me, but the same thing kind of applies. If you were to do an 8-foot tall section of this, this will hold 128 frames. This, as it stands, will hold 96. The reason that I built this was because, for those of you that know my videos, we come back here. I have built myself, well, basically an elevator, a dumbwaiter that goes up to my roof and allows me to load and unload honey supers and bees and everything I need to do to go up to the roof with any equipment. I can use this lift. I have a 2,000-pound hoist up on the roof built in an A-frame that draws this 1-inch square steel car, for lack of a better term, up to the roof. So I built this rack specifically to fit into my elevator. So that way I can take frames up and down safely when I need them, roll them around the roof, roll them around down here, do whatever I have to do to, as far as hive maintenance with frames, and have an efficient way to store them. Now, that being said, this is also a space saver because it's not long and wide like this. Now, I'm going to build one this big and tall and have 5 or 6 sections to it because I got a lot of hives and I don't plan on slowing down, and I'm going to need the eventuality to have 500 frames on hand at a time, whether it be drawn frames or new frames. I just want to be able to have that storage capacity. So that being said, something like this where you build vertically, you can have as many and in a far smaller footprint. As you can see, this is not even 6 foot tall, and it will hold 96 frames. It's basically 2 by 2, 2 foot by 2 foot. And that would tuck away in a garage or in a shed pretty easily, as opposed to having to take up 8 foot worth of space. So there's some options. I like this option, and I'm actually, after looking at this, I think I'm going to go more to a vertical style like this, higher taller, and more compact, so it doesn't have that footprint like this does. Now, like I said, I'm probably still going to need. I'm going to still build this 8 foot wide, and make this, you know, a good quantity frame storage rack. But as for people with limited space, but still need the availability to hold some frames, you can do this kind of style setup and really make efficient use of your space. Now I'll just go over a couple of things with this. This is 18 1/4 wide, the inside boards, 18 1/4. That's what you need for the frames to sit well. And these are just cut at 2 foot. On the back side, I have it flat against the back side. On the front side, it's on the side, and the reason for that is so that I can access frames from the front of this and remove them out. Now, this will be one where I'll have to work from the top down, unless there's a little bit of space. If these are fully loaded, I won't be able to pull this frame until I've pulled at least a couple of these frames. And I can always put less frames if I got drawn comb and foundation, whatever it is, I can orient this to still be accessible on multiple levels. If it's fully packed, I would have to start from the top and work my way down, but I can manage this whichever way I want to suit my purposes at the time. Again, for me, this was born out of necessity to get up to the roof, but I figured, you know what, this is probably practical for a lot of people who are dealing with maybe urban beekeeping or just a smaller setup, smaller yard, small shed, whatever it is that you got. So yeah, 96 frames for that. I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. Frame rests, frame rack. Just my brain going wild today. Bored indoors with the rain, but spring's on its way and I got to keep working or shit's not going to get done. Thanks guys for watching. Later.